For 1,000 years, the Roman Empire was the beacon of the Western world. Its legions, its laws, its culture defined an entire continent. But by the 4th century, the great colossus was no longer invincible. It was a victim of its own success, overextended and weakened from within. Economic crises, political instability, and internal strife were eating away at its very core. The pressure intensified with the great migration of peoples. Tribes pushed by the Huns from the east sought refuge and plunder within Roman lands. The Romans, now dependent on these barbarian mercenaries, were in a precarious position. The symbolic end came in 476 AD, when the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire. This was not a sudden collapse, but the final gasp of an old world. The fall of Rome didn't leave a void. It created a mosaic of new kingdoms. The barbarians, far from being simple savages, were adapting. They adopted Roman laws, Latin language, and administrative structures. But they also brought their own traditions, creating a fusion that would define the new era. It was in these melting pots that the foundations of modern Europe were forged. As political structures crumbled and kingdoms rose and fell, one institution remained and grew stronger: the Christian Church. In this age of chaos, the Church became the new pillar of European society. Monasteries were not just places of worship, they were the intellectual sanctuaries of the age. While cities withered and literacy among the general population plummeted, monks tirelessly worked in scriptoriums, preserving classical knowledge by copying ancient Greek and Roman texts. Without them, countless works of philosophy, science, and literature would have been lost forever. The Church also provided a universal moral and legal framework. The Pope, no longer just a spiritual leader, began to wield significant political influence, mediating conflicts between warring kings and uniting disparate peoples under a single faith. This unity provided a crucial foundation upon which the scattered fragments of Europe could eventually rebuild. The Middle Ages were not a dark age of stagnation. They were a dynamic era of innovation and transformation. From the ashes of Roman law, a new social order emerged: feudalism, where loyalty and service were the new currency of power. The old urban centers may have shrunk, but a new class of knights and peasants shaped the landscape of the continent. The constant raids of Vikings and Magyars forced communities to become more self-sufficient and build fortifications, leading to the proliferation of castles and fortified towns. This was a messy, often brutal, but ultimately creative period. It laid the groundwork for the modern nation-states, gave birth to universities, and fostered a unique cultural identity. The collapse of Rome was not an end, but a necessary reset, the true and complex birth of the world we know today.